President's taking his criticism up a notch. He now says the Obama administration appears prepared to sacrifice American lives by ditching what he calls effective interrogation tactics.
In effect, what we've seen happen with respect to the Obama administration as they came to power is they have moved to take down a lot of those policies we put in place that kept the nation safe.
John Decker is a Washington correspondent for Reuters. The people who have actually done these interrogations say they don't work. They're ineffective. That we have found good information by treating the detainees that we find differently. So why does he keep coming back to this?
Well, it's interesting. Dick Cheney, of course, continues his criticism of the Obama administration. He's saying essentially the same things that he said in prior interviews, and that is that the United States is less safe now with President Obama in power. Yet, Contessa, he's the only one from the Bush administration who's making this point. Just last week, Dana Perino, the former White House press secretary, said she believes that America is safe with President Obama as the commander-in-chief. Why is he doing this now? I think that to some extent, as we'll take Vice President Cheney at his word, that he needs to say these things because no one else is.
Well, he keeps coming back to two memos he says will prove that waterboarding worked. We know that there was one memo already released that indicated there was some actionable information that was obtained during a waterboarding session. That being said, maybe what he'd like to do is talk about whether we should be torturing people. In effect, you can have that conversation. Is the torture of one person worth the value of American lives? But he's not putting it in those terms.
Well, what the vice president has said and what he continues to say is that he would like other memos released by the National Archives where these memos are now located. The memos would indicate, he says, that the interrogation tactics, the harsh interrogation tactics carried out by the U.S. military, by the CIA, were effective in getting very important information that the vice president says saved people's lives. We'll have to wait and see whether those memos are actually released and whether that has any impact in this conversation that the vice president seems to be having through the airwaves with the Obama administration.
There's a lot of talk and a lot of attention being paid to how high up the knowledge went about this harsh interrogation program. I mean, a lot of questions about what Nancy Pelosi knew. And Cheney was asked about what President Bush knew. Here's his answer.
Did President Bush know everything you knew?
I certainly, have every reason to believe he knew a great deal about the program. He basically authorized it.
Do you anticipate that we're going to get to the point where people are asked point blank, did you know waterboarding was being used? What did you know?
Well, I thought it was interesting, the response by former Vice President Cheney to that question asked of him by Bob Schieffer. It wasn't a definitive yes. It wasn't a definitive no. It was basically he knew. And it sounds like there may be some room for former President Bush to have some plausible deniability that he didn't know some harsh interrogation techniques were carried out by the military and CIA officials.
John Decker, good to see you. Thank you.